Today I'm very excited to introduce you to Mark from Transparent Digital. Mark is one of the UK's leading experts in digital marketing and has experience working with some of the world's best known brands. We've brought him in to talk to you about local search, which is something that a lot of you have been asking for. So while this is a huge subject, there are some very simple steps that you can take to get your business noticed in local search results. So I'd like to introduce you to Mark to take you through some of them. So it's over to you now, Mark.
Thank you very much, David. Let's get started. Search engine optimization, often shortened to just SEO, is the process of improving your website's visibility within Google's search results. It's a very, very important business practice because it's a great way to drive huge numbers of qualified visitors to your website. SEO is a form of inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is when someone is looking for a specific service and you want to show up. So for example, if someone's searching for the search term cake decorators Edinburgh and you show up within the Google listings, then that is a form of inbound marketing because they have looked for you and therefore they're coming inbound to your business and you haven't had to go out and look for them specifically. On the other side of marketing is what is known as outbound marketing. So that could be when you send out flyers, maybe you do a newspaper advertisement, and that's when you're going out trying to find customers. You're going out to look for them. So you're going outbound of your business to find customers to bring them in. The problem with outbound marketing, or I guess with the effectiveness of outbound marketing, is that you will be targeting a lot of people that aren't necessarily looking to purchase a cake or have a cake ordered. If you put an advert into a newspaper, for example, a lot of people will see it, but the amount of people that actually see it that are looking for a cake at that exact time is going to be a small percentage. So SEO as an inbound marketing practice is hugely effective because you're working to increase your visibility for people who are actually looking for the service that you're able to provide. So, in a nutshell, SEO is very important because it's a great way to drive a lot of qualified visitors to your website. And we know that these are visitors of people that are actually looking for the service that you provide. Google is extremely smart when it comes to deciding who deserves to rank for any given search term. What we're going to do today is we're going to split what is known as their algorithm into two parts: relevancy and authority. In terms of relevancy, Google will analyse your website and determine which search terms it feels that your website is relevant for. This is quite an easy part of SEO to get right, but a lot of people get it wrong. For example, if you're looking to rank for the search term cake decorators Edinburgh and you don't have the phrase cake decorators Edinburgh anywhere on your website, how is Google actually to know that you're relevant for that search term? So it can be as simple as just making sure you've got the right search terms featured on your website. What we've done is in the lesson notes, I've included a link to a really great resource for all of the on-page factors that can affect your relevancy. I'd recommend you read through that and make some tweaks to your website so that you're relevant for the search terms that you want to rank for. However, today I'm here to talk to you about the other side of SEO, building authority. Google determines the authority of any given website by looking at the quality and quantity of links that point to that website from other websites within Google's index. In a nutshell, the more quality links that you have pointing to your website, the more likely you are to rank for a competitive search term because Google will then deem you to be an authority for that niche. So I guess at this point it might be useful to actually define what is a link. All websites are made up of what is called HTML code. It's essentially the kind of geeky software that sits behind a website and tells your internet browser how to interpret your website and how to display it for your viewing pleasure, if you will. A link is a piece of HTML code which is called an Ahref. You don't really need to worry too much about the nitty-gritty of HTML code. You don't have to learn it, and in most cases you won't have to ever write it. But I thought it'd be useful to show you how a link is actually constructed from an HTML code perspective so you can understand the different elements and what's important to us as link builders. Here's an example of a simple text link in HTML code. So there are two elements of this HTML code that we're actually interested in. The URL that the link is pointing to, so in this case it is our homepage, which is http://www.designer-cakes.com. So that is where the link is actually pointing to. So that's where if someone clicks on that link, where they'll actually land when the browser loads up the new screen. The other important part is what is known as the anchor text that is used for this link. So in this case, the anchor text is Paul Bradford Sugarcraft School. Links will usually be in the form of a text link or an image link. Here is an example of how an image link would look in HTML. You'll see that it takes exactly the same form as the text link. The only difference is that instead of the anchor text, you'll see that there's some more HTML code within that to show the image's URL. So the image, src equals, etc. So that is essentially a link that says, this is the image that we want to show on the page, and if someone clicks on that image, it'll click through to the Designer Cakes homepage. Most website management systems allow you to add a text link or an image link without writing any HTML code. So really, you don't need to worry about how to write HTML code or how to even edit it. I just felt that it would be useful for you to understand how a link is constructed so that you can see the elements that are important to us as link builders. For the sake of clarity, a link is when one website uses HTML code to link to another website, and that can be through a text link or an image link. Okay, so why is link building so important? The best thing to do is think of a Google search result page as a kind of sports league table. Imagine all of the, say, 10 websites that feature on that league table all have quite similar websites in terms of relevancy. So for the search term Cake Decorators Edinburgh, let's say all the first 10 search results are all quite relevant and they've all got pretty good websites. Great content, a lot of engagement, etc. How is Google to actually determine which one deserves to rank first, second, third, etc.? What they do is they look at the quality of the links that point into that website. In a very simplistic view, what you could do is you could think of it as a voting system. Every time that you get a link from another website, think of that as a vote. The more votes that you get, the higher up the rankings you go. So yeah, and it is looking at it very simplistically, but the more links that you get in, the more chance you've got of ranking at the top of a search engine result page. Of course, not all links are created equal. Some links are worth more than others. So let's have a quick look at what makes a good link. When you're looking for websites to link back to you and you're analysing those prospects, you want to have the two prongs of SEO at the forefront of your mind. So you want to be thinking about authority and relevancy. So let's say that you're looking at a website and thinking, would a link from that website be beneficial for my own search presence? You want to think, is that website, first of all, is it relevant? And second, is it an authority within the industry? If it's both of those things, then that link's going to be very beneficial for your business. So in the example of a cake decorator in Edinburgh, when looking at a website, we want to see, is that a relevant website? So is it about cakes, or is it about baking, or even is it about Edinburgh? Because a local search link would be useful. And then you want to see, is it authoritative? In terms of relevancy, you can easily gauge if a website is relevant just by looking at it. Have a browse through it. Does it look like the content is relevant to your own website and your own business? And one of the best things to do is actually think, if I got a link from this website and it had no SEO value, would I still want that link? That's probably the easiest way to determine if a link is relevant or not. If the answer is yes, so yes, I would like a link from this website because it could provide quite relevant traffic and relevant visitors, then the website is relevant enough for you to target that as a link prospect. There's a great resource in the website moz.com that helps you determine or calculate the authority of any website. They do this by giving it a score, or giving a domain a score out of 100, so 1 to 100, and they call this domain authority. It's often shortened to just DA. DA is calculated by looking at the quality of links that point to a domain. So it's a great way to determine the authority of any given domain name. Moz.com has a free tool called Open Site Explorer. Open Site Explorer allows you to punch in a domain name and it will give you the domain authority score. The free version does limit you to, I think it's 5 searches per day. If you're wanting to do more than that, then I'd recommend going to seoweather.com and they've got a bulk metrics checker. Again, the links for this checker and for the Open Site Explorer will be in the lesson notes below. To give domain authority, or DA, a little more context, the Paul Bradford website has a DA of 35 out of 100. Now that might sound quite low. If you've got 35% in an exam, then you'd probably think that's quite a bad score. But it's niche specific. So although we've got a 35 out of 100, that's compared to all websites in the world. So if you think of the BBC website or Facebook website, they obviously have a DA of 100, and that's because they've got millions of links pointing to them. The Paul Bradford website, we've got over 500 links pointing to the website, and a DA of 35 is actually very high for the cake industry. The best way to get a good feel for what is going to do well for you in your own space is to do a search term for your competitors, if you will. So say that you're a cake decorator in Edinburgh. I know I keep coming back to that example, but it's good to be consistent. Let's say you're a cake decorator in Edinburgh. Just type that search term into Google, have a look at the websites that come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, punch them into the domain name checker, so you can use the Open Site Explorer or you can use SEO Weather's bulk checker, and get a feel for what domain authority they've got for each of their domains. Now, it's not as simplistic as if I've got a DA of 40 and my competitor's got a DA of 39 that we will sit above them in the search results. There's other things that come into play, but it gives a good indication of the authority of your domain. So I would, just to get a feel for DA within your own niche, I would have a look at some of your competitors, chuck them into the domain authority checker and get a feel for what their DA score is. You can set this as a benchmark for your link building work. You're going to want to be building your DA over time and improving that as you get more links. If you've just started out, or if you've got a new website, or you've never really done any SEO work, or you've never received any links to your website, your DA will be 1. So 1 is the lowest that you can get. So as soon as you start a website, it starts off as 1. Definitely don't be disheartened if your DA is 1. The best thing about having a DA 1 is that you've only got room for improvement. You can't get any worse. So yeah, and there's a lot of opportunity. And basically, the way to look at link building with domain authority is you want to get links from other domain names that have higher DA than you. So if you do have a DA of 1 or 2 or 3, the chances are the other websites that you're getting links from will be improving your DA over time. So to recap, when we're looking at link prospects, we want to make sure that any link that we receive is relevant and authoritative. Relevancy can be determined by simply looking at a website and looking through the content and thinking to yourself, is this relevant to my business? Would I be happy if someone clicked on a link on this website and landed on my own business's website? Authority is determined by looking at the metric domain authority, or DA, which is a score from 1 to 100. And again, it's important to remember that the score is niche relevant, so have a good look at what is relevant within your own industry. Once we've found websites that we want to receive links from, the next part is trying to make that link work a little bit harder. And what we do there is we try and influence the anchor text. So you'll remember back when we looked at the HTML of a text link. So here's an example again. You'll see that there's the URL and there's also the anchor text. Now the anchor text is the text that will be highlighted as the link on the website. This is actually really important because if we have, let's say for example, they just say the words click here, that's only going to, yes, the relevancy and the authority of the domain name that's linking to you will pass to your website, but that text saying click here will only improve your relevancy for the search term click here, which you're never going to rank for. Adobe have been #1 for the search term click here since the beginning of time because the amount of websites that say click here to download the PDF reader. What you want to do is you want to get the anchor text to be relevant to your business. So if you're looking to rank for Cake Decorators Edinburgh, the ideal text or anchor text for that link would either be Cake Decorators or Cake Decorators Edinburgh or a variation of that. Try and make sure that the links that you receive, the anchor text is relevant to your business. One of the easiest things that you can do, and it's something that a lot of people neglect to do, is set up social media profile pages and set them up properly. So by this I mean make sure you've got a page on Facebook, a profile on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, which I'd imagine most people watching this video will have all of those profiles. But what you'll probably find is that on 1, 2, or maybe all of them, you've not actually linked to your website from those profiles. So you haven't included your website's URL in your profile information. Right now, and I mean right now, jump over to those profiles and go and check if you've included your website. Here's some examples of our profiles. So our Facebook page, as you can see, if you scroll down, you've got our link back to the website. Our Instagram profile has a link back to the website. Our Twitter account has a link back to our website. It's just something very simple that you can do, but these are very, very authoritative domains, so a link from these is going to be very useful. So it's a very simple technique, but most people neglect to do it solely because they've forgotten, or when they were setting up the profile, they were doing it in a hurry and they thought, I'll come back to that. Just make sure that every social profile you've got has a link back to your website. And you're not in any way limited to the social profiles that I've mentioned. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different social media platforms. Just make sure that if you have a profile on a website that is about your business, there is a link included in that profile back to your website. The next technique that I'm going to recommend is really very simple but very, very effective. What I think you guys should do is find other cake decorators, particularly ones who are not in direct competition with you, and do a link exchange. So a link exchange is when someone points a link from their website to yours and you point a link from your website to theirs. Now the good thing about this is, if it's a cake decoration website, then we know it's very relevant, which we've talked about. It's important that a link is relevant, and your link to them is going to be relevant. So it's a mutually beneficial link exchange. Now it's important that you don't link to someone who is in direct competition with you for customers. So if you're an Edinburgh-based cake decorator, then it would be no problem at all to link to someone in Birmingham and vice versa. And you're not in any way restricted by location. If someone's based in Alabama, for example, and they're a cake decorator, then that would be a relevant link for your website, so it'd be worth getting. So how do we actually go about linking to each other? The most simple way to do it is to create a friends page or a links page, and just have a list of cake decorators that you're maybe being inspired by or that you would recommend. And the good thing is, the people that are on your website probably aren't really going to pay much attention to these links because they're looking for someone in your location. So it's purely from an SEO perspective. So you're probably thinking, well, how do I find other cake decorators that I can link with or have a link exchange with? The good news is, and a lot of you will already be aware of it, is that the Paul Bradford Sugarcraft School has a private Facebook group just for you pro members. If you're not a member already, then just go to designer-cakes.com/Facebook, fill out the short form, and you'll get access to the Facebook group nice and quickly. There's hundreds of cake decorators, pro cake decorators, that are in that group. So it's a great way to connect with people, like-minded people, not only just to communicate and ask questions, and it's quite a fun group. I'm actually a member myself. If you've got any digital marketing questions, then you can chuck them in there. But it's a great way to connect with like-minded businesses and to create link exchanges. So I'd recommend going in there, asking who's up for a link exchange. Maybe we can start a thread specifically for that, add them as friends, and then you can orchestrate that link exchange. So just to recap, what we're looking to do here is find relevant websites that we're going to do a link exchange with, and the most relevant website you can find is another cake decorator business. You'll find that once you're up and running, you're starting to make more cakes for local businesses, local charities, different sort of organisations. One of the best ways to get links back is simply just to ask your customers, would they mind linking back to your website? Let's say that you've made a cake for a company's anniversary or a birthday party, and they've written a blog post about their party. You can just ask them to include a link to say thanks to Mark's Bakery for creating the cake for the day, and it could even include an image of the cake. But that's just quite a simple way to do it. Looking at this on a kind of flipping it on its head, rather than asking your existing customers for links, you could go out to companies and say, would you be interested in us making you a cake in exchange for a link? So there might be a local charities are great because their websites are very, very authoritative, because they'll have thousands of links pointing to them. They also obviously like donations. In this case, you could create a nice cake that they could use as part of a raffle or as part of a party, whatever it happens to be, and all you ask in return is for that link from their website. Now you might think a link is not very much to get for the work that you're putting in for the cake. You've got to look at the domain authority of that website and think, actually, this could really boost my presence in the search rankings. So in a lot of cases, it will be worthwhile. Always ask for a link. You could even put it, a lot of you guys have terms when it comes to creating cakes for people. In fact, weddings these days, a lot of people, as you know, have websites that are just about their wedding. There's no harm in them including a link to say our cake is going to be decorated by, or our cake has been decorated by, and then include a link to your business name, linking back to your website. So yeah, just think about all the different people that you're making cakes for, and of those people, who could you actually just ask for a link? It's a very simple process, but it can be very effective. The next technique is simply posting comments on blogs. I'm sure you're aware there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of websites on the internet about cakes, and a large portion of these are cake blogs. Just type in cake blog and your location into Google and you'll find a lot of blogs that are local people talking about cakes. Now, what we can do to build links from relevant and authoritative websites is put comments on blog posts. The best way to do this is to find blogs that you enjoy reading, and maybe you find them useful, entertaining, or interesting, and find blog posts that you feel the need to write a comment on. Don't write a comment just for the sake of it. Write a comment because you feel you can either add value or you can congratulate them on doing good work, etc., etc. And within that post, within that comment, you can often include a link or your profile. So your actual name on the comment can be a link back to your website. It's quite an easy way to build links. What I would say is don't go, I guess, too spammy with it. Don't just comment not very much, or don't comment about nothing of value. You want to comment an actual thought or opinion that you have on the post. And it's great if it's a blog post that you actually have read because you were interested in it. So I was going to provide you with a list of blogs that I would recommend commenting on, but there's a lot of you guys watching this video, so I figured if I did that, you would all go to the same blogs at once and put the comments, and it wouldn't be as effective. So the best thing to do is just have a look for blog posts or blogs that you're interested in or that you value. Look and see if they allow links within their comments. So just have a look at their comments that are already on their posts and see if the title or the name of the person who has left the comment, see if any of those are links back to another website. If they are, then when you post your own comment, you'll be able to put your name, your website and your comment, and it'll link back. It's a very simple process, but it also allows you to get links from very relevant websites, and in a lot of cases very authoritative. So we've talked through a few different techniques about how to build links. Now, one of the important parts of the link building process is monitoring your progress. So let's say that you've tried to get links from 10, 15, 20 different websites, and you may have got some of them, you may have not got others, and that's just part of the process. But you want to monitor which ones Google has actually noticed and is attributing to your website. The easiest way to do this is to use the Moz tool, the Open Site Explorer again. So we'll just load that up and I'll show you how it works. If we punch in a domain name, so let's put in designer-cakes.com, then it will show us all of the backlinks that point to this domain. Now, with a free account or without upgrading to Pro, which is, I think it's £99 per month or $99, it's expensive. So you're probably not going to want to upgrade to that. It's more for SEO agencies. Without the Pro account, you'll get a list of domain names, but you won't get their metrics, which is fine. You just want to know which domains have actually linked back to you so that you can see your progress. So punch in, one of the best things to do is punch in your own domain just now, and it will show you which backlinks Moz currently tracks as pointing to your website. Now that we've talked through a few different ways in which you can build links to your website, I just want to quickly put down a few ground rules, if you will, or things that you absolutely should not do when building links to your website. The first absolute no-no and the cardinal sin of link building is paying for links. Never part with money for a link. It's a very, very easy way to get a link, and it can be effective in improving your search presence. But if Google finds out that you've paid for a link, they won't only penalise that link, they will penalise your whole website. You can wake up one day and you're not even showing on Google for your own brand name. So if your website's Mark's Cakes and you've always been #1 for that term, which would make sense because it's your brand, if you get penalised by Google, you can wake up one day, type in Mark's Cakes, and your website isn't even in the top 100 pages. This is known as a Google penalty, and it's generally when you do something untoward, such as paying for a link. So I would stress, can't stress enough, don't pay for links. There's plenty of other clever, strategic ways that we can get links without having to pay for them, so just make sure that you never ever pay for a link. The next thing that I would recommend steering away from is any type of link building automation. There are pieces of software out there that can do blog commenting on your behalf, can do article submissions, can do directory submissions. The problem with doing things en masse is that these signals can be picked up by Google, and Google can see that it's not a natural process and they can penalise you for that activity. So just make sure that you stay away from any sort of automation. You only want to be doing link building if it's you personally is doing it and you're building a relationship with people, and that's why they're linking back to you. On the same sort of note, you don't really want to outsource link building activity on the cheap. You'll find there's a lot of websites out there where you can find link building experts that will charge you £5, £10 an hour or $10 an hour. For that amount of money, the only way they can be profitable is if they're outsourcing, is if they're automating their link building processes on your behalf. So because we're saying let's not do any automation at all, be very wary of outsourcing your SEO work unless it's to a reputable company that is charging enough per hour that they're going to be doing it manually themselves and no automation is at play. And the last thing that I would say to stay well away from is getting links from websites that you think are quite low quality. If you're looking through a website and maybe it's got quite a high domain authority, but the website looks terrible, it's got a lot of advertising on it, it's just not very good content, there's no actual true content, if you will, then that's not a good link neighborhood, if you will. So make sure that you're always focusing on quality as well as relevancy and authority. You want to get links from websites that you would be happy or you'd be excited to get a link from that website. If you look at a website and it's really low quality, just don't pursue it from a link building perspective. Okay, so we've covered off quite a lot of things today, but I'll just give you a quick recap. First of all, SEO is a very important practice because you're getting qualified visitors to your website. There's two parts of SEO, there's authority and there's relevancy. So to rank well for a competitive search term, you need to have a relevant website to that search term, and Google needs to see you as an authority for that search term. Relevancy is all about your on-page factors, which we've included a link in the lesson notes so that you can go through that yourself. But today's course was all about building authority, and we're doing that through link building. We've looked at what makes a good link. So the link itself needs to come from a relevant website. It needs to come from an authoritative website, and ideally the anchor text of the link is going to be relevant to your business. Don't worry too much if it's not. The link will still pass value. It's just ideal if you could get that anchor text to be relevant to your business. So don't dwell on it too much. If the website isn't willing to change the anchor text that they've put in, then don't stress out too much. We've then gone through a few different practices about how you can actually build links. Now, today was very much about an introduction to link building. At Transparent Digital, we offer a 2-day link building training course. So as you can imagine, we could spend literally 15, 16 hours going through lots of different link building practices and teaching you how to do them. Today is about an introduction to some of the simple techniques that you can do to get you interested in link building and get you starting to build authority for your website. What we've done is in the lesson notes, we've included a link to Backlinko, which is a very good website, a great resource, and they've got a great page that details a lot of different backlink or link building opportunities or strategies. I'd recommend, if you've gone through today's techniques that I've talked about and you felt that's actually quite good fun, once you're starting to build some better rankings on the back of that, then I would have a look at Backlinko or even just look at SEO Moz. There's a lot of different online blogs that are about SEO link building tactics. So have a look through them and you can start to do a little bit more clever, more advanced tactics. But today was really about an introduction, so I hope you found that useful. As always, if you leave a comment below, I'll be keeping an eye on the page, and if you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. Alternatively, I'm actually a member of the Pro Facebook group, so if you've got any specific digital marketing questions, it doesn't have to be about link building, but digital marketing questions in general, then please put them on the Facebook group and just tag me in that post and I'll come on there and I'll help you out as best I can. I hope you've enjoyed today, and I'll see you soon for the next tutorial.